Hi everyone, Nathan here. I just wanted to give a big thank you to all the viewers for the support you've given us each and every episode. This is our 9th installment of the Playtest Panel, and to celebrate our 10th episode, we wanted to do something special for you all. So, next week, instead of our usual pre-recorded video, we'll be doing a live stream. There'll be special guests and maybe a few prizes up for grabs, but more importantly, we'll try and make the episode revolve around you, the viewers. So before you watch the rest of this video, please head over to our channel and click on our scheduled live stream, and be sure to get notified for when we go live next week. It's been great making these videos for you all, and I hope you've enjoyed listening as much as we've enjoyed creating them. Thank you.
Hello and welcome back to the Playtest Panel. I'm your co-host Blake, and I'm joined by Andrew and Nathan. So, Andrew, you've had a pretty busy week this week. What did you get up to on Tuesday?
Tuesday, we had exam. So we had the monthly exam. This month is September, and I showcased my game Soulseeker, which I've been making a few videos on over the last few weeks. And I'm just currently showing off some of this new stuff. I'm not really sure when I'm going to bring it back, but it's just trying getting a gauge of how people feel with the game and how people like the looks of it and things like that, and see if there's any major issues. It was pretty good. We had I had a lot of people coming in and checking out the game, contacting me after, and really liking the game and stuff like that. So it's been really fun. I know Nathan was there too. Setting out as usual.
Yeah, well, it was really funny actually watching Andrew. Basically, I've never seen him sweat so much in my life. I've seen you at conventions, and you're usually pretty chill when you're like, oh hey, play this Mega Mix game. It's really fun. Tuesday night, I feel like people, especially when I was there, were finding bugs, like UI issues happening in the game, or things would crash out, or I remember there was one guy who's just trying to break through all the boundaries and collisions, seeing if you can find a way. And the whole time Andrew's like, no, should be good. Yeah. Just Andrew's usually got a very chilled persona about him. But Tuesday night, I feel like you were just stressing, and you were switched on. You were just watching the gameplay and stuff, which was really funny. But yeah, I was there Tuesday night as well. I've been volunteering, setting up. So I rock up early since I'm already down that way for school. I'll catch the train early and just start setting up the tables. So I set up your monitor and your controller and the guys next to you. I moved all that stuff around, which was really good. It was just really cool to every month I've noticed, at least when I've volunteered, I've met new people, and those who are kind of in charge have grown closer to me. That I'm more of a familiar face now. That consistency of actually seeing through the year actually help a lot, to the point where they'll reach out and be like, hey, do you want to help with this other thing? Or which is really cool to see, because I feel yeah, I've always been very infrequent with the meetups, but being consistent for a year, I've actually seen development and changes. It was also funny. I remember your brother Andrew was like, Nathan, you good? Because I kept standing around and looking at everyone that was around there, and I was just being like, I'm trying to find a face that isn't familiar, I can't distinctly know, but I think going for this long now, there's a lot of people who I can just go up to and talk to, even if they don't know me. I know of them enough now where I can start a conversation with them, which is really cool. But also sometimes I just have the same conversation with the same people every single month, like Andrew. But it's funny, Andrew, do you know the one thing everyone talked about this week at the meetup? No. Everyone mentioned their plans for Games Week.
Oh, yeah, true.
Every single person I went up to, and it was the big group of people, and we talk about stuff, and then eventually one person would mention oh yeah, I got this one thing planning for Games Week coming up, and then just the table would just start listing off all the events they're going to, or people being like, oh, do I go to this one? Should I go to this? And even in the chat now in our private Discord, we've got people asking should I go to the Game Awards locally, the AGDAs, or is that worth it type thing? We're definitely all in that prep mode of things coming up. So I left there kind of feeling more overwhelmed and stressed about what's ahead of us, but the night itself was actually really fun.
I mean, I know you're going as a creator, right? I saw
going to PAX. Yeah,
you've announced.
Yep. I've had it for ages, and I just literally haven't had the time to post. And then when I realized, they sent me another email because they send you marketing emails to kind of push on your socials. For me, it doesn't work very well because I kind of just have YouTube. My other socials are kind of small. But LinkedIn, I got really good reception in terms of like industry people actually like following me and reaching out and stuff, which was good to see. But yeah, going to PAX as a creator. Some conventions you get pretty good perks as a creator. Like I know with TGX, you get like a VIP access and that sort of thing. With PAX, the only thing you get as a creator, like not a media person as well as just a creator, is you get an extra hour early on Friday, and that's it. Like you get it, but the thing is, it's with all the other press as well, so you get an extra hour to try things before everyone comes through. The one video idea I have is I kind of want to do a challenge video of trying to interview every indie dev in that 1 hour. Just going to every single person, being like, give me your elevator pitch. Where can they support you? Thanks. And like moving on and going to every single booth and seeing if I can do that. Which I think
like
would be
a challenge
really fun.
video?
Yeah, like a challenge video. And then try and edit and upload that ASAP. Just because like, and again, this is kind of going off to my weird YouTube tangents. Regular interviews with devs just don't perform as well. I think part of it is just that's really hard to market that in the title and thumbnail when it's a much smaller creator. Like, of course, if you do it with bigger devs, like people will watch that. But part of me, I feel like as a creator is like, I'm almost their marketing team and I'm not doing a very good job if they're not getting good views. So I think having a challenge video around it, kind of making it more hype and intense. Like one YouTuber I love watching, his name is Pocket Monster. He does Pokemon.
Deep Pocket Monster?
Deep Pocket Monster.
Yeah, I've been watching that
and he does really good challenge videos where he'll have to try and buy a set of Pokemon cards at a convention and he'll set a timer. And like the intensity of that is kind of what I'm going for. And just to see like the formula, whether I can even do it. Also, it's only me going in by myself on the Friday morning. Like I can't bring in a cameraman. So I'm also figuring out how the heck, what do I bring? Do I just bring my single camera and vlog myself? But that's kind of not as boring. Like I'm trying to figure out other things. So I talked to people on Tuesday night about that as well. And
so what about people that have like a team that like
those are
have a
people.
cameraman, right?
And they've obviously gone and gotten press badges. But with me as a creator, I've just applied as a creator. Where like in the future, I don't know what to do, honestly. I also just don't think PAX is a good place to make videos for me. Like PAX is great. It's got so many different things, but I feel like small creators who do more gaming focused stuff, it's good for. And I know cosplayers and tabletop, I feel like almost have a bigger spotlight in terms of like people interested in watching videos like that. Well, for me with game dev, it's like, I've got to do interesting videos about, you know, the stuff and making it more intense and watchable. Otherwise people just don't care. And like, I get it. Like you need the video to be digestible. So I'm also thinking of doing like more short content as well during PAX. But anyways, you got me off topic for what we did this week. But like, I want to get an update on the game. It's been too long. I mean, viewers who are binging this are like, why does Nathan keep nagging him about it? But like, for me, it's been too long. What's the go ahead?
Right. So in the last 7 days, I've mostly just been on a big like polish pass on the game, basically. I've not really been adding anything new. I've just been improving what's there because that's sort of long overdue at this point. So I've really been focused on the weapons and getting like the game feel a lot better. I've also been doing weapon reload animations, which is a pretty new thing for me actually, because usually I just do like the GoldenEye 007 like gun dip out of screen, plays the reload sound, and the gun pops back up. So this is my first time doing like proper actual weapon reload animations. So that's been a pretty big learning experience, especially because I've had to go and modify a bunch of the models to like make it so like magazines can eject and things like that. That's been pretty fun. It's been a lot more work than I was expecting it to be. And like at the moment, I'm sort of just getting the animations like just good enough. I'll do another pass later on once I'm a bit further down the track and get them like really nice. But for the time, they're just sort of just functional, just so they're in there. And yeah, then I've just been updating a bunch of models, things like that, redoing some textures. Just yeah, trying to get the game a bit prettier for Games Week that's coming up in what, three and a bit weeks, I think. Oh, I'm really not prepared for it, but I'm really hoping to have a decent playable demo by then, that I can start showing around to people. I really need to get you guys like an in progress demo so we can actually start to get some like player feedback before then. But yeah, you know, I think I'm a little too focused on getting like a really good vertical slice before I show it to anyone, and I'm probably going to benefit from like just getting it out to a few people like now, just to get that early feedback. So if you guys just keep nagging me over the next like week, I can probably get you something.
Right.
But yeah, that's basically been my last week working on the games. Just just polishing things up. I've just started working on the story for the game, so that's still like very, very bare bones and early at this point, but I'm actually starting to get something on that front end, so that's a bit exciting as well. But it's going well, and I'm pretty happy with it currently.
I reckon you should get a build out ASAP, because I think, right, you should learn from Andrew. Don't do a build like an hour before you're meant to playtest, because you'll realize things are broken. And even with some of the other guys I was playing, like one guy was also like, yeah, I did a build today at 5 p.m. and the thing was at 6:30. He also, his home computer is Windows PC, and he was doing stuff on there. And then the laptop he brought was a Mac, and he thought he could just build it on the Windows. And so he had built it on the Windows, copied it over to the Mac. It didn't work on the Mac, so he had to install Unity, get all the project files, set everything up to then export it to the Mac for it to work. Like, I think polish and stuff is good, Blake, and I'm the exact same, bro. Like, I will spend too long making the vertical slice just right, just the way I like it. But in terms of actual player feedback, like for me, the biggest thing I got from people when I playtest my game was like, the sound doesn't work. The UI crashes when I go pause on pause, pause on pause, pause on pause too quickly. Like little things like that where like you yourself as a developer, you're never going to test that, because you just go, yeah, when you pause the game, you press P or escape and that's it. Like, it's the players who will break stuff and just do things you won't think about. And like, then it's actual good feedback for you to then go back and test to make sure. Because I think the most embarrassing thing, at least for me, would be like if I was showing a publisher this and then their experience is ruined because of a bug that is a very clear oversight from me. So yeah, I think we should get a build going, and just, so we can test it and help you debug some of the thing, like iron out the stuff really, like, because yeah, I think that's really essential.
Everyone's in a panic for Miggle. I was in a panic right before Tuesday, and I did do a build like, well, it wasn't hours before. It was I started the build at like 12, and then I was like, oh, it didn't work, or my entire house cut off, and I was like, oh, okay, you gotta build it, and then it pretty much got to the point where it was an hour before I had to leave, and I had to extend it, come into the city an hour later, and all this stuff. But yeah, definitely do build again, because there's gonna be a few issues that doesn't let you build the game, and you're gonna be like, oh, but I ironed out everything. It worked in the play, but there's gonna be things.
That's the thing too, right? Like it works in the editor. It's like, yeah, but once you build it, and then like, because I know as well, like, there's so many different things that you don't cater for when you're working in the engine. Like, you'll build it, and then you go on a certain Windows PC, and then someone uses a certain keyboard or a certain controller, or like just so many things that can go wrong that you don't realize. Like, I know for me, when I build my things, and Unreal's just terrible at this, like, there'll be a bajillion things broken in the game that I don't know about because I don't read the build logs or like the console logs when I do stuff. It's not until it tries building the game that's like, oh, hey, by the way, bunch of stuff's broken because you didn't know yet to fix it.
That's exactly what happened.
Like, I feel like building is just so stressful. It's such a bad experience.
I had the most like random bug. It was just like, there was something I deleted from the project files that was like, and then I built it, and then there was a long list of things, and one tiny red line. I read it, and it's like, these things could not be found. And I was like, oh, and I go in it, and I'm like, they're not there. I deleted them ages ago. So I opened up the Explorer, and they're there. I'm like, what? Why are they not in the project, but they're in my Explorer? So I deleted it from the Explorer, and it built properly. So it was just the most random thing, and like it didn't even affect the game whether or not that like those things were in there, but it just stopped me from building.
Yeah. So scary stuff, and Games Week is stressful enough. I feel like, yeah. So I think we're both saying to you right now, Andrew, Blake, who's like, build it right now, send us a version so we can play it, and then we can tell you, and maybe it's perfect. Who knows?
I hope so.
Maybe
I actually have not done a single build of this game, so I am a bit worried. Like, there could be some like serious issues there. Then I'll be in trouble.
You're just gonna have to put the editor in front of them. It's like, all right, just press play right here. Don't delete anything.
Yeah, he did have the editor open as well, just in case the build didn't work. He's like, yeah, I've got it right here. Unity's just open with the like full screen when you hit play. So yeah, maybe do a build because who knows what, and you're using the older version of Unity anyways, so you should be okay. Just because newer versions, I've heard it's not as simple as just build and run now. But
right,
what do I know? I'm an Unreal dev now. But yeah, so
I've been using this version for a long time, so I'm hoping I know enough about it that I should be okay. But I know I've run into a bunch of issues in the past, so who would know?
And I mean, when you're doing your Game Jam games, for example, or like your other stuff, have you ever had people like complain about bugs? Really?
Not like, too bad.
Like the blurring one that we had in the one gameplay thing we played. But like aside from that, you haven't had anything major break.
Nothing major. I remember like Sleigh Bells had some like audio issues in the original version, which I think was just like sort of a like depended on your hardware, I think. So I've had some stuff like that. But as far as I'm aware, I haven't had any like massive game breaking bugs that are at least Unity's fault. I know Sleigh Bells had one. Again, this is so long ago now, but like if the killer Santa saw you in a map and killed you, there was some like real edge case bug where when you reloaded the map, he would like be triggered to chase you straight away. And that was like some bug I never figured out. But for the most part, like those games like had no like playtesting whatsoever until they were released. And, I get like some small bug reports and stuff like that. But for the most part, I think I've sort of been all right. It might help that they're also free games. And like, I guess people are a little bit more forgiving when it comes to stuff they haven't had to pay money for. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I reckon, build it, see if you get any errors, and if not, then just send us a copy and then we'll find some. Won't we, Andrew?
Please don't.
I think Blake's gonna nail out the park. I think he's gonna...
Honestly, it's gonna outsell Silksong at this point, I think. It's gonna crash all the servers. Which, do we have anything else to catch up on or talk about, or should we dive into our main topic?
No, we can dive into Silksong.
Okay, raise your hand. Who's played Hollow Knight? Who's played Silksong? Great, we are. Well,
we love supporting Australian devs, eh?
Okay, I am very excited to play Silksong. But I don't know. There's something about like day one gameplay, or like week one, or a couple of first few months I just stay away from. I might play Silksong soon. But like Elden Ring, I kind of waited a whole year on that, and they put a bunch of like major bug fixes and stuff, so my experience was great. But I think leaving it too long, I don't like getting spoiled, or I don't like other people's expectations messing with mine. So I might get onto it as ASAP. But it's very interesting, right? A lot of hype for Silksong, and it crashed Steam on day one. No, hour one.
Yeah, has that ever happened within our experiences?
I've never seen it before.
Ever crashed for you? Yeah, I know very early on, there were issues, but that was like more the fact that like there wasn't infrastructure for like online servers and packaging and downloads. Like that was very early days. But ever since they've kind of been at the forefront of that infrastructure, I don't think I've ever experienced Steam servers going down for any reason. So to me, that's because I remember as well. I was like, "Oh, Silksong's out. I wonder like what the store page is at." And I was going to check like reviews and stuff, and just Steam Store was like, "Sorry." And it's funny they have like little sad emoji, and I was like, "You know what? That artist's artwork has never been seen," and they're cheering right now, being like, "Yes, finally, people can see my artwork," and all the engineers are like, "Oh." Yeah, so that's so interesting because it was Steam. I know the eShop for Nintendo went down.
PlayStation
PlayStation Store went down as well. But that's crazy to me because I don't think any other. I mean, it also makes me laugh because I wonder how GTA 6 is going to do.
I don't think it will do as well as this.
That's what I think too. I don't think they're going to crash the servers.
But I think they'll also be prepared for it, right?
Do you just don't think that people were prepared for Silksong to crash servers? You thought they like underestimated it?
I don't know because like this is the first time, at least in a long time. I don't know. I'm sure something like this has happened in the past. Maybe something like Cyberpunk or what's another huge thing.
But they've never crashed servers, and especially Steam. Like I feel like Steam has such good scalability in terms of like giving people enough, but there's never ever any waiting rooms or
on Steam,
stuff.
yes.
On
but
Steam.
I think there's certainly other games like servers that have crashed.
Yeah, probably crashed like
yeah.
Microsoft's and Sony's stuff.
But yeah, not on Steam. Steam, this is very surprising first, at least to my knowledge. I'm sure there's been at least one other game, but
I'm sure there's others. And like I said before, like early days probably happened all the time.
Yeah,
because
it's been too long.
Unstable. But yeah, it's just interesting because Silksong's a really interesting case study in many regards, like in terms of gameplay. People can talk about it for ages. I don't think we'll talk about that much because we haven't all played it. I look at it more as like a local indie game. It's based in Adelaide, which is basically next door to Blake. And you know, it's only been, was it 4 guys? 4, 5? 3?
I think it's like
3, 4, 5.
I think it's
Someone I know is 3.
3?
Yeah.
And they haven't upscaled. That's one thing I remember people were doing all this chat about. Like, you know, these guys, they got all this money, but they've stayed small and stayed humble and all this stuff. But I also loved their marketing campaign, which was nothing, and then it's ready and we'll show it. It's really funny as well. I know Nintendo's going to do another Direct soon, and people are freaking out because they're like, well, we've got Deltarune, we've got Silksong. What do we type in chat now? Like, we got everything we wanted. There's nothing else to ask for. Like, the indie lovers are like, just like, no, we're good. We're good. We've got it all.
You know, I think that's like sort of like, there's no marketing, right? There's zero marketing. They went to Nintendo like, hey, this is coming out soon, and then they said, oh, 2020 whatever release, and it didn't come out that year. But then it's just been like a community thing, right? It's like everyone's been so excited for this. It's been such a strong. It's like the toxic. There's not much toxic community in there. There's a lot of like huge fans that are just like even just regular people who just want to play this game, and that's like it's not even a strategy. It's just they've just put so much trust into their fans that they don't really need to do anything.
What's funny, I think you actually reach a point in terms of like who you are as a developer where if you do less, it ends up doing more. Like I think for us three, we kind of all need to market our stuff and be very out there because we don't have that community. But I reckon once you get to a certain size, it's better just to say nothing and have that hype build like organically and then just drop it when it's ready. Yeah, it's just interesting. Like when do you get to that point? I don't know.
I mean, that's basically how I've released like all of my games. It's basically like just tell no one I'm working on anything, and then here's a game or here's a new update. I definitely don't have the audience of Team Cherry though, so results may vary.
But did you still got good results from when those games came out though, right?
Yeah, pretty good. So like Sleigh Bells had the devlog series leading up to release. But basically everything since then was basically me just releasing the trailer and the game on the same day. Because like I remember hearing somewhere like years ago on some game dev marketing podcast or something, that like for like smaller games, if people see a trailer and they like it, but the game's not coming out for like 6 months, are they going to like stick around for when it does come out? So, you know, some people say it is better to just, if you are small, to just release everything at once. Which I don't know if that is a good marketing strategy or not. I guess it sort of depends on you getting traction on that like initial announcement. I did all right off of it. Like I can't complain with like my download numbers from doing that, but I also had, you know, Sleigh Bells do relatively well. Probably like 2 years before that. So that definitely helped me. So if you sort of like don't have any sort of following, you know, it might be pretty difficult to gain some traction. Like you probably do want to do decent marketing leading up to it, but you know, I guess it sort of just it just depends on how you want to approach it and you know, what sort of risk you kind of want to take.
Thinking about like just releasing things out of the blue, I want to ask you both kind of your thoughts and feelings of, if say you had a game that was going to be released in like a month or two and you had the date set and it's been like that for ages, and then Silksong or Hollow Knight 3 gets announced like 2 weeks beforehand and says that they're releasing the same day as you, like, what are you doing? How are you feeling? And is there any malice towards, like, obviously a company who has probably more popularity and almost power? Like, I don't know. I'm still trying to process and think about that, but I'm curious to see what you guys think.
You know, I think Silksong has been a very special case. I think it would definitely be something that would be annoying, but it's a very acceptable thing, right? It's sort of like, I mean, in any wrench, it's like a sort of you know, a blockade in any journey. You know, it's just something you would have to plan around and reconfigure, because a lot of people would delay their games. A lot of people delaying their games and putting messages in front of you, being like, "We'll be back in a couple of weeks instead, because this is coming out." And you know, as much as like it sucked to do that, I think it's an acceptable thing and it's a smart thing to do, right? It's just to replan something going forward, especially around a bigger game. But I heard there was a story about someone who was just like, whatever, I'm just going to release on the same day. And because no one else was releasing besides Silksong, they got a lot more traction and they got like twice the amount that they probably would have ended up with after than if they had just like delayed. But I mean, to me, I would feel no malice. I'd feel no annoyance, because yeah, I feel like at the end of the day, it's just a part of the release schedule. It's just more time to prepare. You know, things like this happen all the time. It's you know, and these guys are just a couple of dudes, and for them it's a special case, right? I mean, even if it was a bigger company, it wouldn't be something that would annoy me, but you know, they have the opportunity to do that. You know, why not? For me, at least, right? What about you? What do you think, Blake?
I think for me, it would depend on what the big game is that's being released. So I don't think my audience would really overlap with Silksong's too much. You know, maybe I wouldn't want to release when like Grand Theft Auto 6 was coming out or something like that. That's a bit more, you know, adult, I guess you could say. So I think I would be okay with releasing at the same time as Silksong. But you know, for you, Andrew, your games are probably a bit closer in audience to Silksong. Like Soulseeker is you know, got some similarities to Hollow Knight. So you know, maybe they could pull some of your audience away if you were releasing around that time. But yeah, I don't think I would like ever hold any malice towards most studios like that. Like I remember a while ago, there's a TikTok of a girl who was she released her game on the same day that EA dropped a bunch of I think it was EA. They dropped a bunch of their old games on Steam, and they just sort of like completely took over the front page, and it sort of like didn't help with visibility for the game that she was making. To have like 20 old games just get released that day out of the blue. So yeah, that could obviously hurt quite a lot. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I would see Silksong as much of a competitor to what I'm doing. But yeah, I guess you really just gotta weigh up whether it's going to draw your audience away from what you're releasing.
The other day you're playing my game, you're like, oh, it's like Hollow Knight. I was like, oh, that's a very big compliment. Thank you, but I don't know about that.
I had one of our friends compare my game to Killing Floor the other night.
Whoa.
And I was like, wow, that is like a huge compliment. Thanks, Liam.
No, it's funny. I remember actually when we were talking about this stuff, back when the Elden Ring DLC came out, it was going to overlap with... Maybe it wasn't going to overlap, but they changed scheduling or announced stuff for Final Fantasy Online. And so one of the developers, he said this in like a press release, was like, we figured everyone would be interested in playing the Elden Ring DLC, so I'll give you 1 week to like play the DLC and then hop on and play our game during the summer break and stuff. I think you guys are totally right in that it depends 100% on the game that you're making and the game that's been released. Like, if your game is a indie game that's maybe more difficult and has cute art styles, and people who play, Silksong might play your game, then yeah, it would be smarter to postpone that. But if Blake was releasing any of his games at the same time, like, I feel like you'd be totally fine to, like, sure, maybe there'd be a bit of a dip, but not really. And I think the harder ones, kind of like we were talking before, like imagine like a big publisher just putting all their games all at once and just flooding the new and upcoming stuff like that, I think is a lot more bad practice. And I think that's one that like Steam needs to almost cater for that themselves. That isn't a publisher thing. That's more of a service end thing. But it's funny. I think LinkedIn, I've been sucked into LinkedIn recently because it's the one of the few social medias where I feel like I can interact with things and it's a person interacting back with me. As much as they sound like corporate jargon speak, which I absolutely hate, it feels more alive than like X and Blue Sky, which is just like, hey ball. And yeah, a lot of the posts I saw were people upset about Silksong being like, oh, they're so inconsiderate for not thinking about the other indies, and like marketing teams to reschedule stuff and all these other things. And at the end of the day, right, like these, I don't like the fact that people are kind of placing almost this morality onto Team Cherry, saying you guys have so much available to you in terms of community and the control you have. Like, it doesn't matter when you announce or release Silksong, like you're going to get amazing numbers no matter what. My other thing is like, it doesn't matter when you release, you're going to annoy someone because they're also going to release their game at that time period. Like, I think for them, it's smart for them just to release the game when it's ready. And if that's now, then that's now. And I think now is a good time to release it, honestly. Like, we didn't have any major releases really. It was a good time for a lot of people. So yeah, like I don't have any malice towards them. It's just funny how, and again, this is just social media in general. Like, I think it was less them trying to start conversation, but more the fact they're trying to get engagement on their social media about Silksong, which is just, it's so funny to see people try to like, and we do it here as well. Like, we'll do things at Battlefield and we'll do Silksong. This video, we talk about it because I know it's going to get clicks in the thumbnail because people see Silksong and they want to click on it and talk about, like, I know I'm part of the grift as well. But it's just funny to see people who do it in a more negative context. Because I'm like, man, the fact that a platformer in 2025 can break the Steam store, I think says something more about the games industry than, you know, the fact that we're getting GTA 6 and these realistic graphics. You know, everyone's like, oh, don't. And like, how many people do platformers now? And although, you know, it's more than just a platformer, it's a Metroidvania, and so there's more to it than that. But imagine if you pitched Silksong or Hollow Knight to like someone at IGDAM, right? They would be like, oh, platformer? Really? You're going to do one of those? Or a 2D side-scroller? Like, there's plenty of those around. Like, I think it also just proves, like, your point of, like, with indies, if you have a vision for a game and you can accomplish that vision and know what makes you unique, like, it doesn't matter what other people say. And I know when Hollow Knight first came out, some people were like, oh, I love this art style. I love, like, the little bug lore, and that style was really interesting to them. But other people were like, oh, another platformer? Like, it's just going to be another, like, indie whatever. But it's really cool to see it almost grow into this thing that is just massive, massively worldwide. And I think, right, for local industry, for us, I'm glad that things like this come out, because there are then those places like local councils and local governments and all this other stuff that go, oh, games industry generates money and revenue and we should put more things into making more games here. But I love seeing games like this blow up that are local to us, because it shows not just that we can make games, but how to make a commercially good product. That's my biggest annoyance with indie games, locally at least, is that sometimes people are so upset that their game isn't doing well that, you know, if you make games for a social cause, for a hobby, that's fine. Admit that and be okay with it. But when people get upset, like, oh, my game that isn't very good didn't sell 1 million copies and isn't the biggest thing ever, it's like, well, yeah, you need to think in that different mindset, you know? And I feel like locally, there's a bit of, not angst, but I feel like, yeah, if I say I want to make a game so I can make money and be really big, kind of people go, oh, why would you? No, that's capitalism's bad, guys. Come on, we're trying to get socialism, communism happening here. Like, what's going on? Where like, if you did in any other industry, it would be so like odd to be like, you know, imagine being a farmer being like, I mean, obviously they don't make any money, but like, if they aren't trying to make money, they're like, I don't want to make money, guys. I just want to, you know, do it for the sake of it. Which most farmers do it because of that, because of their industry, and it's struggling and it's terrible. But imagine a farmer saying that they hate capitalism. I mean, they probably do say that anyways because they don't get paid enough. But you know what I'm trying to say? Like, any other business or industry that says they don't want to make money because it's a dirty word almost, it's just so interesting to me. And I feel like as local game developers, we need to be a bit more realistic. And like, that's one thing I've been honest with people when they have good ideas. Like, I actually do think, like, one thing I love about Andrew's solo project is it reminds me of the games I played growing up on the Xbox and PS2. That 3D platformer, we don't have enough of. Like, I know it's got Souls-like elements to it too, which I think makes it for great local audiences, but it also has that almost nostalgia that I think is missing and is a niche, like on Steam. Like, tell me how many 3D platformers. There are some, but it's like only a handful. So I look at that and go, yeah, with a bit of polish and work, I actually think that could be a really good commercial product. Other games I see, I'm like, this just feels like an itch weekend project, and it doesn't feel like it's mature enough. I feel like as an industry, at least where we are, there's definitely mature people, but they don't stick around for these events. They end up going off and, you know, being a business. They don't come to local meetups as much. That's just a separate tension I have about things, and, you know, people might come back and bite me in the butt because of it in my opinions of things. But, you know, it's something I think that is genuinely, yeah.
It's a weird thing that, you know, there is this thing that you shouldn't be making money from your games. Like, making a game is just so much work, and it is just so many hours just to get something that is even like remotely good. And, you know, there is this weird discourse around it where you shouldn't be charging for it. Like, I just find that kind of odd, because like, what else do people put this much work into in like their life and don't expect, you know, some sort of monetary success from it?
Yeah, it's also funny the whole price point with Silksong, because they charged $20, which is 40 Australian,
30 USD,
30
AUD, yeah.
Is it? I swear it was, or was it like 39.99 or you know.
No, it's I'm
Really?
pretty sure it's $29.99.
Okay, what we talk about. Anyways, and then now AAA is getting mad because they're like, oh, you guys can't charge that much. Oh my gosh, I'm on Steam right now, and Silksong is still the big banner across the top. It's been a week now, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was after we recorded last week.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
So
yes. Yeah, it's very interesting. I was going to bring it up.
$29.50.
$29.50. Okay.
Sitting at 55,000 reviews.
How much money
positive.
does that equal?
Oh, I gotta get the calculator up. Oh, where's my calculator? Why don't you talk? Or do you know how to calculate it, Blake?
I just go on the Steam stats website usually.
Yeah, it's also funny. Actually, one of the things that happened, and this is a really, I mean, again, we're getting too technical in terms of business industry. Apparently, the translation for Silksong in simplified Chinese wasn't very good. And so everywhere else, recently Steam has released these new review things where it's like English reviews, Japanese reviews, Chinese reviews, because sometimes like certain countries are more harsh in reviewing. Like I know Japanese and Chinese are actually harsher reviewers. And so if they obviously mount on more reviews, then your score's going to go down, where realistically your game actually isn't as bad. Maybe it's because of the translation or certain like cultural mechanic that doesn't translate well with them. But yeah, it's interesting that happened with Silksong, and I can't remember if it was Silksong. Again, I'm just reading things off the internet, so take it as some guy that's just spewing misinformation. Like other games have actually been called out a lot, and even AAA stuff as well have had really bad Chinese translations where like they're not even consistent with the way that they translate something. So for example, if you're talking with someone and they say this is a chair here, later they'll say this is a stool here. Like they're not, or like this is a table, or this is something else. And so even changing like words of items through the game is being inconsistent, which it's much harder for indies for us because I feel like translation is so expensive. And also games vary, whether it's just text-based, whether you have voice acting, and the style of game as well. But I think they've fixed it now. I think they went in and fixed it, which is good to see. But it's funny to see as well, like even a game with such amazing reception still isn't perfect. Like it's impossible to release a perfect game no matter what. Oh wow! I've just saw a recently uploaded review from Josh, who said, "Filled with weird design decisions and overall a worse game than the first," which is crazy. But most
and yet
people...
they've put 20 hours into the game.
Yeah. They have. That's crazy.
I think there's always an expectation when you release a new game that this game has to be either better or like be just like and better than the first game. Whereas I feel like I feel like all sequels should always try not be better, but like try and improve on the things that they've done before. But and I've heard a lot of negative feedback towards another contender for Game of the Year this year, Split Fiction, where a lot of people aren't happy with it. And there's been a lot of discourse between Split Fiction and It Takes Two, which won Game of the Year a couple of years ago, right?
I haven't played Split Fiction yet. What's the issue with that one? Is it harder?
From what I've heard, the story is not as impactful, and that like the puzzles and gameplay element just don't hit as well. And like It Takes Two was such a phenomenal game, right? Like like every game that I think deserves to win Game of the Year this year are like, almost like changing the industry, right? We've got Clair Obscur, which is like this indie but also like bigger team, sort of like AAA quality games. Then we got Hollow Knight, Silksong, which I don't know if it's nominated yet, but I'm certain it's going to be nominated, at least the top 5, to be this sort of like small but like very like guaranteed success yet minimal price game. We've got Split Fiction, which is again like It Takes Two, has this very community element to it where like they are, only one person needs the game to play it. We've got all these very like generous games like that in an age where we're complaining about price points and like $110 Nintendo game that you probably play for like 10 hours, which Bonanza was a good game, but like how many people need to spend about how many hundreds of dollars just to play that game? I don't know. What do you guys think in that sort of realm?
Blake, what are your thoughts?
I mean, going back to Split Fiction, I didn't hear anything negative about that game. I only heard praise, basically. Like, I thought everyone loved that game. I haven't played any of them. Actually, what was their first game they made? The prison one.
It Takes Two is the first one, and then they did A Way Out.
Wait, was It Takes Two the first game? I thought it was A Way Out, then It Takes Two.
I think it was It Takes Two first, and then A Way Out came out afterwards. But I'll fact check myself.
Right, so sure. I played a little bit of A Way Out when it first came out years ago, but I haven't played the other two.
I think that is an expectation thing, right? Because people are getting exactly what they wanted from Silksong. Where Split Fiction and that company in general very much like to do different things. They don't like to repeat. They're not going to do the same, story over and over again, same style. They're always trying to do something different. And with the expectations, when you got such a strong game, people are going to expect the same thing but better. Whereas they did something different. So that's where at least the critical element that I'm hearing has come from, is that like it's not the same, it's slightly different. The puzzles are I know there's still a lot of platforming puzzles, co-op platforming puzzles, but like they didn't hit the same as It Takes Two and the art style, all this stuff. And I, as much as like that is a valid critical element, I disagree with it, because I think it's very important, especially as a company that if their goal is to make something different and always do something new, then they should definitely do that. But
also, I stand corrected. You were right, Andrew. A Way Out was the first one that came out, and then they did It Takes Two.
It doesn't matter, right?
It does. Takes Two. I like to get my facts right. But like, I've played It Takes Two, and we're maybe halfway through it, and I think the hard part, right, with Split Fiction is that It Takes Two has such a strong premise. You're this couple who's going to go through a divorce, and you need to work together. And by the way, you get shrunk down to these little, characters. And so you already have this impression of the world. It's so magical. And the fact that you get so much freedom with that, like I have the range that you have in that, from going to like the tree house with the squirrels and the bees and the wasps to like a snow globe where your first like honeymoon was. And so there's like this whole, like there's a lot of emotional impact and clever gameplay that you can combine together. If you say to me Split Fiction, where like someone like sci-fi, someone likes fantasy, like it's interesting and they maybe opposites attract and whatever. Like I think the fact that just It Takes Two was such a perfect premise and gave so much for both story and gameplay makes it hard to even come up against again. Like you really can't make something like that without really figuring it out. But I think you're right as well, Andrew. Like this is a company who doesn't like doing the same thing twice. I will say that I actually think Split Fiction is almost like a safe bet for them. I was expecting something totally out of the ballpark, different co-op experience. But for me, it just felt like It Takes Two, but sprinkled with something a little bit different. But again, I haven't heard any complaints about it, and I haven't played it yet because I'm still yet to finish It Takes Two. Platforming puzzles are hard, and bosses are scary. Okay, so we're just going to leave it at that, and we'll eventually finish it. Yes, but it is a bit of a stressful game when it comes with playing with two people. And I'm curious to see what they keep working on. One thing, though, that I do love about the company, and this is me nerding out about random tech stuff again, is they've made, but there's an Unreal thing they've worked on because it's all made in Unreal. And the issue they had early on with games is that you can either use blueprints or C++. But designers didn't like touching C++, and engineers didn't like touching blueprints. And so they've almost made like another middle ground where it's like a C# flavor of scripting in Unreal that is open source and free to use. The only sucky thing is you need to compile the engine with it and read the documentation. Like, it's very heavily documented, but I don't think it's many good YouTube tutorials. Like, it's not like Unity or Unreal where you just can find online information everywhere. But that's a cool thing that like they've done. And I love actually on LinkedIn seeing some of the designers, the way they do levels. I remember they showed like progression of like how a first level pass was in terms of gameplay, and then afterwards when all the art and like polish was added in. Because I think one thing that they have that's really good is their like gameplay. They've got solid design choices. Maybe it wasn't as strong in Split Fiction, I can't tell you that, but I think that they're very good at finding the fun. And I look at them as developers. I'm trying to remember, actually, was it Split Fiction or Takes Two? Like, whoever finished a certain level, there's a really hard section in the game, and if you bet it, they would fly you out to the studio. I think it was Split Fiction. They're like a secret level that if the two people found it and completed the level, there's a video that played of the creative director being like, wow, we didn't think anyone would finish this, but since you have, we're going to fly you to the studio and do a tour or whatever else. Like, it was
Split Fiction, I think.
It was Split Fiction that did that. Like, that's really fun and really exciting, and like shows that they're doing cool and different things each time. And I think like they've made pretty good games each time they've made something. So like, even if it wasn't received very well by everyone, I'm sure whatever they're going to do next is going to be just as fun. Same with Team Cherry. Like, it's funny actually. I saw a highlight of someone on Twitch, and one of the devs were like commenting while they were live streaming Silksong, and she was like, "So is the next game going to be as hard as this one?" And the dev was like, "Haha, you're trying to bait me into saying we're working on another one. That's not happening." So like, who knows? And I feel like with Team Cherry, right, is that right now they're just working on fixing Silksong with any issues they have. Like, they did some boss balancing, and they'll probably just fix stuff. And I mean, is it out on everything? There's no other platforms really to
I don't think
put
there's
it on.
nothing that's not out on.
Yeah, so it's like they'll probably just go back to the drawing board and do whatever the heck they want at this point. Maybe it's another
What a life.
sequel, or maybe they'll do something completely different. I reckon they'll do, because I know with this one they loved making it so much, and I think they've made such an awesome world that they all like, they've got a formula here that's working really good for everyone. Like, if your team is happy and your community is happy and you can just keep making this, like, just do that until you sit in the grave. Like,
I mean,
so,
I've heard they've had an insane amount of fun working on this.
yeah,
You know.
and why wouldn't you just do that again? Like, they spent what, 6 years working on it? Like, that sounds like a great time.
It kept getting delayed because they're having too much fun.
Yeah, that's what they
Game
say.
dev
So,
shouldn't be fun.
yeah, it's like, so why would you ruin that by going and making something different? Unless you find that fun elsewhere. But yeah, that was just a weird ramble I went on. You guys should stop me when I do that sometimes.
What is the topics this week?
The topics?
What were the topics?
It was Silksong.
Silksong.
We'll talk about Silksong. And like whether releasing your game, you know, at that time would be a scummy thing to do. And we all said no, because like they shouldn't be held to a morality point of release. Because
it's so strange that holding like just like 3 people accountable to the entire industry. It's just
right.
So wrong.
Yeah, it's funny how, yeah, once you get a, oh man, actually no, we won't talk about that. That's a very Australian thing and a very depressing thing, I guess. But have you guys heard of tall poppy syndrome?
No.
Yes, but I'm just gonna Google it to jog my memory.
Because from what I understand it to be, and it's something that's very Australian, but basically it's kind of like as soon as you have any success greater than people around you, they'll either try to cut you down back to their level, or they almost underappreciate your accomplishments. Like, for example, right, one I always use is like in the US, if you get a promotion, your friends are like, "Oh my gosh, congratulations! Let's go out for dinner and celebrate!" And woo, boss girl, you got a promotion! It's so great. If you do that in Australia, they go, "Oh, cool, that's nice." Like we almost, and one big issue I know that happens a lot with artists in terms of like musicians and stuff is that they'll try to make it big here, but everyone's like, "Nah, you're just some punk kid from a rural town. Like, you don't deserve to be famous and popular." And then they go to the US and they get massive. And then Australians change their mind. They're like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, they're one of us, yeah." We're like, actually, no, you were like, I feel like we're not very supportive in terms of like hyping people up and letting people actually reach their full potential. We almost, as a culture, sometimes drag people down. And I think that's just because of like the founding ways of our nation that, you know, convicts and not dictatorships, but, you know, like authority and stuff. And like, yeah, the way that our country is founded means that almost our mentality of like success and stuff changes things. So I think that also, you know, impacts people locally as well, where it's like, okay, we almost see, I'm sure other devs see Team Cherry as like this big, crazy, successful people who we're kind of jealous of, because what do you mean they're only 3 guys in, you know, a share house or whatever? Where realistically, we should be like, no, they've done the impossible, and we should celebrate them and let them get as big as they want to. Did I say that right, though, Blake? Was that?
Yeah, pretty well. Yeah. I've met one of the Team Cherry guys at a game dev event a few years ago. It's like one of the nicest guys ever. Like, and he gave me the time. Like, I'm a tiny developer compared to like what they've done. But he asked me about my games. We talked about my games and all that. And he was just so nice and friendly. And I found that a lot of big developers here are like really good to talk to. Like, I know, Nathan, you've also had that experience with like, you would expect the big people to sort of be like, "Oh, you guys are like little indie devs. Like, I don't really need to give you the time of day." But I found like all the big developers I've talked to have just been lovely.
Yeah, they've been actually awesome. What are you going to say, Andrew?
I met Christopher Larkin last year, the musician, and he was just some shy guy. He's like, "Hey, what's up?" And like he was kind of like tricked up, and I was trying to like not bring up Silksong around him to like be like, "Oh my god, you're famous!" But I was like, "I really like your work, man. That's really cool." Yeah, but like they're such cool guys. They're just someone who made a very good game, and there's some people who made a very good game and like just like love talking to people, and they're like always so outgoing. Ari Gibson is really tall, so he always intimidates me. So
he was the one he was the one I talked to, and he was super nice.
It's just very tall and it intimidates me. So I haven't talked to him yet. So
maybe this year.
Yeah, maybe this year. I mean, no, I would love to.
Maybe not. Maybe they might be a bit busy this year. They might be a bit flooded, but
I guess the thing though, right? Like, I just feel like all I want to do with these devs is just sit down with them for like 5-10 minutes and just be like, "How's it going? How are you? Are you okay as a person? Like, do you need things? How's your day been?" But yeah, bigger devs are always so nice. I remember when I did GCAP last year, a few of the people I did meet to matches with were quite intimidating. Like people who like are local and have had success. And I remember for a few of them, I either was running late or like some of my other meet to matches were going over. I remember one I completely forgot about. I felt terrible. I felt so bad. I was like, "Oh no!" Like I checked my phone. I think we were in a talk, Blake. I checked my phone and the guy had messaged me like 5 times. Like, "Hey bro, where are you? How are we here?" Anyway, he was just so nice and rescheduled. He goes, "Dude, it's games week. Like, I understand if you get sucked into another talk or, you know," he's like, "I struggled to be there on time as well because I saw 5 people that, you know, knew me and spoke to me and stuff." Super nice. And even like someone like, I'm going to bring him up every single time because it was one conversation, but every time you talk about it, but like talking to Robin, who made Half-Life Alyx, was actually the most like giddy experience I've had, because the bro made Half-Life Alyx. Like, it's one of my favorite games of all time, as it worked on all the Valve stuff. and he was just so chill about it. Like I remember, right, because at GCAP they'll have these tables and these booths, and you sit at the tables and stuff. He was on the side in the corner up against the wall where people kind of just sit and chill, and he was just sitting there wearing like a sweater, jeans and runners, just with his legs crossed, talking to someone. It was like, oh hi Nathan, yeah, okay, cool, come sit and we'll just chat. And he was just the most casual guy. And obviously when it came to serious stuff, like he'd tell me how it is. Like he'd be like, oh, if you want to get Valve, you got to know your stuff. Like you got to be a senior, you got to be, we'll spit you out if you don't know what you're doing. But even just talking about stuff, like he was super nice. I don't know how we got into the conversation about it, but I think we were just talking about design and stuff. And he's like, yeah, like I learned a lot of my design and things from my mum. She's an art teacher. She teaches like high school, primary school art. And we talked about like that and how like, growing up in Brisbane where like his parents live and stuff, like just really like down to earth stuff. It wasn't just talking about, oh, like, do you know Gabe? And like, when's Half-Life 3 coming out? I was like, no, just talking to him like a human being was so interesting because it makes you realize that these are people just like us. And the main thing is that they've worked really hard at their craft. I think that's the coolest thing to see, that like you're saying, Andrew, like there can be someone who's like really shy and closed off, but boy, can they make a soundtrack that makes, you have goosebumps. I think they're sort of make you heroes. And I think in some industries, and some regards, maybe that's true because you have kind of a falsehood of what you think that interaction is going to be like. But I also think a lot of people who've gotten to really high positions, thankfully, has been because they are good people to begin with. I think that's the best way to kind of find success and to like work with people. Like obviously we have some crazy egocentric people in the games industry, but I think now at least they get called out pretty quickly, and get warned about pretty well.
What's that guy's name again? A Fez or something? The guy who made Fez?
Yeah.
Phil Fish.
I'm also thinking of, I can never remember his name. I think he made the first Fable. He made the original Fable series.
Oh, Peter Molyneux.
Peter Molyneux or whatever. I actually had at my old degree, my tutor or lecturer or whatever for game design actually worked for him. And he had some crazy stories. He worked at his company for years and was like, what he would actually do. I remember one of the games that he like helped direct, my lecturer, was like at the movies or something. I forgot what it was called. But basically it was just like a simulator game where you'd be in Hollywood and you'd like, hire crew. It was like 2 Point Hospital or like Age of Empires, those sort of like management games, but it was like Hollywood. So you like crew, film, edit, and that sort of thing. Anyway, Peter went into a publisher meeting basically coming out saying that, no, we're going to generate full movies with our game that you can watch and enjoy. And went back to the team and was like, all right, guys, I had this idea. You need to figure out how to do it. With this, like, that is crazy to me. Like, the fact that he made games for that long in that way, it's just crazy to show like how sometimes those egocentric people can just have that authority. And I guess, when you know how to talk to publishers and somehow manipulate a team of people, you can get away with stuff. But thankfully, at least in our experience, I haven't really heard locally of many people being like that. Like a lot of the key people that work in our industry locally are generally really awesome people, and they're very friendly, and they're someone who, I can go up to in a pub and get a drink with and just chat about stuff. And half the time they're so, like you're saying, Blake, like they just ask about your work and what you do, and you feel so like, oh, I'm just an indie, I'm just a solo, working on my own thing. And then you have to be like, what do you do? And they're like, oh, yeah, I made this like platformer game, it's had some, like they're always so humble about it.
Yeah. Like one night at some game event, I was like, I met a bunch of people that were all like way bigger game devs than me. And then this guy came and sat with us and he just started talking to me, and I was like telling him about my game and stuff. And I'm like, oh, what do you do? He's like, oh, I made this game called Totally Accurate Battle Simulator. I'm like, oh, Yeah, I've heard of that one, which is one of the just this massive Steam success, and yeah, it's like I've had quite a few like weird moments like that where you just be talking to someone and then they just casually bring up this like massive hit indie game that they just happened to make with a couple of their friends. Like same thing happened with the guy that made Peglin. I was just like casually talking to him one night, and he just casually mentions that, oh, I made this game called Peglin. You might have heard of it. And yeah, it's just stuff like that. And these people are all just so nice and just so easy to talk to. And it's, I don't know, I feel very lucky to be part of this industry, especially in Australia. I don't know, I just feel like I'd say 99% of people that I've met are like just lovely and just so good to talk to. There's a couple of people you meet that you just don't vibe with, I guess. But for the most part, just everyone's just so nice and just happy to talk about their games, talk about, just what everyone's working on. I feel like most of us spend so much time on our computers that when we do get the chance to just talk to other people about what we do, it's just a really fun time.
You're totally right. Yeah, it's just funny when you listen to big people and how like they came from where we are now. Like there was a day where they were making stuff or being like juniors or interns or whatever. I just love the fact that they've never lost sight of that as well. Like for them, I remember I was talking to Josh Y, who did Portal, and I got awesome time to talk with him at Games Pond, and he was just talking about his time back at Raven Software when it was like really, really small. Like right now they work on Call of Duty and they do Warzone, all this really big stuff. And I think he was there when they only had like maybe under 50 people. Like they were a super small team. And the way that his eyes lit up, where he just like talks about Raven Software, is like, oh, I loved working there. Like he would make these Quake mods and stuff, and so they needed the level editor, and he'd just do these maps, and he was just it's crazy, and it makes me jealous. He's like, yeah, like I did these maps for these mods, and then I just looked for local jobs for level editors, and there was Raven Software, so I just went there and talked to them, and they just hired me, and then I just did that. And like just that like pure not nostalgic joy, but like just this like wholesome memories of like, yeah, like I've always loved doing this, and this is great. And even though I've made these massive incredible games and had these awesome experiences, like I'm still that dev who just loves creating things and talking to other people about it. And it was crazy too talking to Josh about it as well, because he was like, yeah, I love being here with the indies. He was like, I'm kind of sick of the corporate AAA people. Like they're very boring usually. Like indies people are more, energetic and happy, and the games are more interesting. Like everyone has unique ideas and stuff. And it's just good to see like people who've had so much success in their life still kind of follow that pathway of like indies are cool, making games is cool, and they don't become like what like celebrities do when they become successful, which is just like soulless money grabbers who, yeah, like their game devs have just this wholesome personality about them, which I love so much, which I think is why we're going to stick around in the industry basically until we've got grey hairs and don't remember who we are anymore. Because like, yeah, it's awesome. Like I don't want to leave because it's just so good. Yeah, local industry. Well, I didn't think we were going to talk about this, but like, it happens every episode. I'm like, why are we talking about this? This is crazy. But
hey,
yeah,
it'd be exciting when we're old and forget, because it would be like, when's Silksong coming out?
it would be so... Guys, I met Robin from Valve. It's like, Nathan, you've worked at Valve for 20 years. What?
You guys ready for Mickle 2025?
And you know what? It's like 50 years later, Blake's made all these incredible games, and he's like, guys, have you heard of this little Christmas game I made back on Itch back in the day? I think you'll really enjoy it. It's my greatest it's my life's work. Like it's the weirdest thing I ever made.
We'll be in the retirement home together. Like, you'll be like, guys, Markiplier played Sleigh Bells. Holy shit!
One thing I'd love to do if ever I get to the age where I have to be in a retirement home, what I want to do is I want to make sure all my bros... Actually, no, you don't need to be in the same retirement home. But one thing I want to do when I'm in a retirement home, senile, can't look after myself, I will make a Minecraft server. and everyone that I know and care about and are my friends, we will have a Minecraft server and relive the childhood days of having villages and laws and griefing and governance, and somehow someone's like, I just need cheats to teleport, and then suddenly they have like 1,500 diamonds. Like, I want to go back to that during my retirement period
That sounds
before
great.
I pass into the grave, because
Amazing.
that's the way I want to go out. It's like banning my friends from my server because they cheated or used hacks somehow. You know who you are. Just kidding. He doesn't watch the videos, I don't think.
Aww.
But yeah, I think that's everything. I mean, we went on a few tangents there, which is always good here on Playtest Panel. That's what we do. But let us know your thoughts about industry and Silksong. Have you played it? Gameplay? Do you think it's okay to release a game that's massively popular out of nowhere? I think it is. I mean, when else are you going to release it? But yeah, that's been us. Thank you all for watching. Check out Blake on his socials, Andrew and mine, all in the description down below. Support us in just watching these videos for now. Thank you all. Have a wonderful life, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. That was way too much energy, Nathan. I don't know why I put in all that effort.